House Bill 312, the governor's veto notwithstanding, is finally passed.
One of Governor Andy Beshear's vetoes falls to the wayside. This is Wave News at 6. I'm Brian Schlansky.
And I'm Myra Ansari. The end of Kentucky's legislative session has the Republican supermajority acting as promised, overturning Governor Andy Beshear's vetoes on issues ranging from gun rights to education funding.
Wave News reporter David Mattingly is following all the action at the state capitol.
With just 2 days left in this session, the Republican supermajority is wasting no time in overturning dozens of Governor Beshear vetoes. They seem to fall one right after the other. Sometimes the process takes less than 5 minutes.
We deal with the vetoes really quickly. A lot of these are big, important issues, and I think they're entitled to a lot of robust discussion. Sometimes it feels like we're just sort of running through them and checking them off the list.
In both the House and the Senate, Democratic supporters of Governor Beshear's vetoes are allowed to speak, but then the veto is promptly overridden by a wide majority. Senator Reginald Thomas is the leader of the Democratic Minority Caucus.
We'll do some more House bills today, but there's not much more I can say again other than I support the governor's vetoes.
Republicans outnumber Democrats 4-1 in both houses. Senator Max Wise, the Senate's Republican majority floor leader, points out they have overridden vetoes both from the Democrat Andy Beshear and former Republican Governor Matt Bevin. But this year, the override machine is in overdrive, targeting more than 30 Beshear vetoes.
You know, in terms of the bills itself, I think everything will be overridden. We'll look at House Bill 500, the budget bill. There always could be some line items in the budget bill like that. But for right now, if it's a whole entirety of a bill, I would say everything will be overridden.
And Republican leadership predicts that all of Governor Beshear's vetoes will be overturned. Tomorrow is the last day of the session. At the state capitol, David Mattingly, Wave News.